Hey guys, John Haddock here. I'm here with William Bethea again. Today we're going to be talking about some Superman books that are really, really good to read. I mean, everyone talks about Batman books and how he's got all these great these great stories like Long Halloween, Year One, Dark Knight Returns, Strikes Back, all that stuff. And a character that we really don't hear a lot from is Superman. And I think one of the reasons that is because Batman's kind of pretty easy to write for. He doesn't have a whole he's powerless. He's very relatable. And you can kind of work with a lot of stuff there with his villains and that. So it's it's kind of an easier route as opposed to Superman. He's really not relatable. He's an alien. He's has the abilities of pretty much a god. So it's very, very hard to depict a character and put him in a situation where he can fight against characters and do his own. But here we have some books that we really think capture what the Man of Steel is and are really, really fun reads. And the best thing about these books is you don't need to be following any kind of continuity storylines. You can just dive right in and go with it and enjoy yourself.
Yes. And I want to say on that note, I wish some of these were in the continuity because they were really good books. And the continuity Superman that we see now, I'm like, wow, what the world?
Michael Bendis hasn't been
I'm
doing
just
Superman
saying, hey, whatever.
So the first one we have is All-Star Superman. This is done by Grant Morrison, one of my favorite writers, and the art is fantastic. The storyline was great.
Yes.
For me, it just felt like Superman he had all the powers, but he felt vulnerable at times. I mean, if you've ever read the storyline, we find out that he's got super exposure to the sun, and it's destroying his cells, and we don't know how much time he has left.
About to blow.
And we get to see the Man of Steel in a vulnerable position. And we get really great stories out of it. This collects, I think, Volume 1 and 2 are, 12 issues altogether? Yes. And we see Parasite. We see him deal with Atlas. What's the other god that he deals with?
What is it? Not Praxis. I can't even think of his name.
Well, what do you think about it? Lex Luthor, obviously.
Yeah, I think it's Praxis.
Parasite, Lex Luthor, the two Olympians, and we get to see really great storylines. Yeah. Lois Lane is in a role that's not the typical damsel in distress. Yeah. She's holding her own. She's an intelligent character and somebody that you want to read about and follow. I mean, what do you think about it?
All right, so number one, whenever Superman is fighting a villain and he second guess how he's going at him, is always interesting. Him garnering and worried about his abilities, and not only his abilities but those around him, was exceptionally interesting as far as the dynamic of Superman, because Superman, as far as the caring guy, you see that through this whole series. And when I say care, I mean he's in his feelings this whole title run, okay? And Lois is not only the support, but Lois is showing that, yo, you Superman. More like not like a support, but actually his back. You know what I'm saying? His backbone. Even the conversation with Lex Luthor, you see how much, not just Lex Luthor despises him, but how much Lex Luthor admires him in this run. I think when they fight, it's more along the lines of, hey, I don't really want to hurt you, but this is where we are right now.
Yeah, this is the boiling part of our relationship.
I mean, you. Like, I think the takeaway from this volume is the writer actually shows you how deep a character Superman is. Not just how deep a character Superman is. The first god he fights, it's the actual coloring. You kind of like get warped into not just the way it's drawn, but it's like almost Superman's in slow motion when he fights him. It's like he's gathering himself the whole time he fights him. God, I can't get your name. But the speed is different.
You know what the art reminded me of? I can't remember what the TV show was. It was a 90s cartoon. It was with a robot, a giant robot and a kid robot. And they fought like aliens and all kinds of stuff in the city.
A kid robot and a giant robot.
Yeah. The art looked just like that.
Okay,
I didn't plan on talking about that. It just came to me since you talked about art. The art. But sorry, I'm not prepared.
That's all right. Look. All I know is, in reading these Superman titles, it was apparent to me that I really don't look at writing like most people look at writing. I am so enveloped in the character. So whoever writes the character, I am enveloped in the character. So I'm like, oh, this is a new side depending on how the writer writes him. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, oh, this is still my hero. It's just I haven't seen him in this light yet.
Yeah.
And
I think that's a great way to look at how different writers take on characters that we know. I think, that shows.
That's the depth of it. But with these, you see the best of Superman.
I definitely agree with you.
You see the best of Superman. And this makes you want to go buy titles. And and what disappointed me is once you read this and you go and look at now, that is
the All-Star lineup was created to go against the Ultimate line that Marvel did. The All-Star lineup didn't last as long because there was a lot of issues with it.
Okay.
Release dates. The All-Star Batman run by Frank Miller was atrocious.
Okay.
It was absolutely atrocious. It's actual laugh. People get it today to laugh at it. It's that bad. And this kind of fell into it. DC kind of, I don't know if they pulled the gun.
Yeah.
I really wish that we could have gotten more of this All-Star Superman storyline.
Yes.
I really fell in love with the character and what Grant Morrison did. I would love Grant Morrison to this break that we're getting from Green Lantern to come back and do some Superman stuff. I would really, really love to see that happen because I really think Grant Morrison gets Superman and so does Jeff Johns, who has a book that we'll also talk about.
Yeah.
The next book is Superman American Alien by, was it Max Landis? Yeah.
Yes.
What do you think about this? This is an interesting Elseworld origin story.
Okay. Once again, I'm gonna say this: the greatest illegal alien of all time is Superman. I want to say also that this title was primarily based on the world understanding Superman.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the world understands Superman. Not Superman understands Superman. The world understands Superman. And his relationship with how we save people, how we go about being Superman, and the reflection of there's one battle in there where he gets hit and he's going through I think I want to say a building, and he has to wow, because I might bring this whole thing down. It got like, whoa, he just slow himself down. But it's that recognition and the world seeing that recognition. I think this book was clearly based on the premise of everybody seeing Superman from a viewpoint, and not Superman showing you his viewpoint on what everything he does.
I really liked with this book, I get what you're saying. I really liked how they showed him not as like the Superman that we know. He was Superman, but he was Superman, like still kind of getting into being Superman. I really like there's an issue in here that focuses on he goes on vacation on like a boat and kind of party crashes Bruce Wayne's boat, and Deathstroke thinks he's Bruce Wayne, and we have a really kind of comedical fight between Clark Kent and Deathstroke. I thought that was really good. This was one of those books that I read and I kind of made me go, okay. It's not typical Superman that we all know and love, and I think that's why a lot of people like this book and go to it. When you look at just the depth of the character, there is some of that. We do get to see a little bit of like how Clark. It's not his whole how do I fit in. It's how am I perceived as Superman? Yeah. Like I can do it, but I want to do it. I can do it, but what's the best avenue of approach for me to be Superman? Was the take I got on the book.
And each issue showed that.
Yeah, each issue progresses that issue, and I really liked. Well, I shouldn't say I really liked. I really liked how sometimes the art progressed as the story went on, except in that
Final one. Yeah.
It was a little weird for me. When he fights Lobo and the art was kind of...
Lobo, wait a minute. I was shocked that Lobo was in it.
Yeah.
That's the only critique I got on this as far as the way the other stories had panned out, and then you got Lobo there, and I'm like, whoa.
And I didn't realize, like, I get Lobo strong, but like the Last Zarnian is not gonna dust Superman like that. At least that my envision of Superman isn't getting, isn't on the ropes fighting Lobo. Do you have anything else on this one?
Well, I do want to say this.
Go ahead.
What you gather from that is, and the key, I think, is the progression when he's fighting. You see his skill get better. But then when the Lobo thing happens, it's like he reverted all the way back. It's like, what the hell? Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
He struggles with Lobo in this.
No. Okay, so strong stories, good title. I like All-Star better.
Yeah. Let me say this. This is my favorite one out of these Elseworld stories that we get.
Don't do this.
Superman Secret Origins by Jeff Johns. Jeff Johns, he writes everybody so well, whether it's The Flash, Green Lantern, and in this case, The Man of Steel. This book, let me say this. Okay, this book captures, Spike does not want to stay. Jeez Louise. This book captures what the essence of Superman is in all the storylines. We get to see him deal with, General Lane, Metallo, who else is in this? Metallo, them. We get to see one of my favorites, the Legion of Superheroes, get brought back.
Legion of Superheroes is in there.
Are the whole
Lex is in it.
Fun. They're what comics are all about. That Silver Age funness. I'm going to pass it to you, and I'll finish on this note. The highlight of this book isn't a battle. It isn't some climatic event. It isn't an art or anything like that shows what Superman is his superness. The best thing is this book is in the beginning of the book, he bumps into a girl, and she's rude to him. This is before there's Superman in Metropolis. At the end of the book, somebody bumps into the same girl, and she's nicer. Her entire emotions are better because that's what Superman is. That's what makes him, in my opinion, better than Batman and most of the characters in the DC. Is that Superman inspires other characters. Batman and them kind of don't. They're in the shadows where Superman's out in the front. He's got the smile on. He's doing everything, and he makes the people of Metropolis strive for something better. And that's something that I really don't see in a lot of the Superman books. And that's like his main thing. I mean, you watch Smallville. Okay. I mean, how many times does somebody from the past come back to meet him just to say, "Oh, it's just an honor to meet you. We wanted to see you." And I know, go ahead, take it from there.
Okay. So the forward in here is beautifully written, and I'm telling you, the forward had me almost in tears. The forward almost had me in tears. Get past the forward. All right. So, this is what they adapted the Superman movie from. This one. So, the Superman movie, the current Superman.
Really?
Yes.
I did not get Man of Steel out of this.
Yes. Man of Steel is
Zod's not even in it.
Man of Steel is what you got. Read the guy. Let me tell you, when I read this thing,
I don't agree with that.
Hey, look, it's in the book, and it's right here, and beautiful. Oh my God, I love this book. Oh my God. So, I'm telling you, the forward here is awesome. Wait. By David S. Goyer. Goyer, Goyer. All right. I'm just saying, this book is the inspiration. And not only is it the inspiration, but this book shows you how much he was loved as a child. This book is the origin of Superman. This is a perfect This is Superman.
Absolutely, I agree.
This
I
is
love.
Superman.
This is
This
one
is
of
wait,
my favorite books. Of
This
Superman.
this is Superman. This is my number one. This is my issue one. This is if I want to read Superman for the first time to find out what I want, right there.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Right there. Hey, look. Okay. Now, when the Legion came and gave him his ring, I was like, wait a minute. Because he was kind of surprised. He was like, oh. Everything in this book was refreshing.
Yes.
Everything in this book, from the art to the lettering, the lettering was even distinctive. Jeff Johns is the dude for Superman. Now, I'm lost because I read this, and now I'm reading Superman now,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
Listen, the Superman rebirth in the beginning was actually really good.
okay,
In my opinion.
okay,
The new stuff is.
hey,
What can I say?
all I know is Jeff, are you coming back to the paper, man?
He's way too busy trying to run DC Comics.
Hey, Jeff, hey, look,
Maybe he'll get what is the name, DeVito and Jim Lee to retire, and we can get good comics again. That's what needs to happen.
That's a blade there.
All right, listen. On that note, thanks guys for watching. Give a like, subscribe, comment. If we'll definitely hit you back up on the comments thing. Do you have anything else?
Hey man, I just want to say, if you don't get none, get this one.
Definitely read this one. This is a great story. All right, guys. Thanks.